you get the easterly wind, sometimes the northeasterly wind coming straight off Siberia, and it's absolutely bitterly cold. But in the summer, it's drier and it's sunnier. We get more sunshine in the east, which enables the farmers to grow things like wheat. Traditionally, it's an agricultural area that grows a lot of arable crops. Whereas in places like Wales, where it's too wet, not sunny enough, it's better for sheep farming. So it has an effect on the farming.
Can you tell me something about your place where you're living? And is it a village or a town?
It's a small village, a population of about 200 people, about 100 houses, which is small. I have lived in a hamlet which only had about 10 people, so it's not the smallest village I've lived in. I've also lived in a village that had about 500, so it's about average for a village, if you like, about 200 people. There is a church. Almost every parish has its own parish church as a result of the Middle Ages, when religion was a big thing and lots of places built churches. Or I should say the people built the churches. And it's a community where people tend to do their own thing, tend to keep themselves to themselves, but at the same time are available to help. And we have many occasions throughout the year which are sociable and give you the opportunity to meet others in the village. So we know our neighbours that way. We have a garden group, so every month we meet and we chat about things to do with gardening. There are sewing groups and groups for different craft activities. My husband runs a choir. They're not all from the village. Some of them come from other villages. And we've just managed to build a new village centre, which is a new building because we didn't have a good building. And people have all got together and had summer fetes and all sorts of things to raise some money. And now we've got a new building which is about to be opened. And that'll be an opportunity to meet. You can have family events there, meetings with talks, even show films or something. I mean, there's no end to the scope of what you can do as a village. But we don't have a village shop anymore. And when we first arrived in this village 11 years ago, we had a butcher who still delivered meat. But previously to that, there was still a baker. There was still a village shop. And if you go back further still, the village school was still functioning. But the only thing we have left in the village is a pub. Oh. So that's the place where a lot of people meet. They meet in the pub.
And in villages, like on my side, the main profession of people who are living in villages is agriculture. So what about your village? Is it the profession of people who are living there? Is they farmers or?
Yes, the most evident is the farming activity, because obviously the farms take up a lot of space and they're all around us. I mean, we are a small village, slightly scattered houses, but everywhere in between and around there are, of course, the farms and the fields. But I would say that the majority of people living in the village are outsiders who were not born and brought up here, and who have, a lot of them are retired like ourselves. So you have retired people, you have a few families with small children, but not that many. So I would say that the numbers of farming people is relatively few, but they take up all the space.
And what do they grow in your village?
Well, on the field at the end of our garden at the moment, I think they're growing wheat. Last year it was barley. It might be what we call rapeseed, which is what they make oils out of. And sugar beet is another one that's sometimes grown, not so often, but mostly the cereals: wheat, barley, rye.
Do they use pesticides?
They certainly do. They certainly do. Unfortunately. And of course, there's the mechanization that goes with it. So instead of just a little tractor with one little man on it who might just have a little plow behind, it's a great big tractor with a huge, great big sprayer on it. And they put herbicides and insecticides and fungicides. So 3 lots of different kinds of pesticides. And I think it's a pity, because I think the traditional method of growing food has completely changed, and it's big companies that in fact are in charge. People like Monsanto, who actually sell the seeds, and farmers don't know exactly what's going on. They have an agronomist who is somebody who is the person who decides what needs to go on the crop, when it needs to go on the crop. So an agronomist will look after the farmer's fields. He will look at the soil, look at the crops, decide, right, there's weeds growing here, let's get some herbicides on here. And they will go to Monsanto and say, right, it's time to put the pesticides or the herbicide on now. So there's a middleman, in other words. The farmer is no longer the person who himself looks after his land. It's very much an industry. And
Yeah,
it's also
a lot of people do tell me that technology and the everything would change with computers and the the cultural and industrial revolution. But Avril, everything has pros and cons, and yeah, technology do have a pro, and they have benefits. Like today, you are living far away from me, but today we are like talking together. This is a good aspect of technology, but at the same time, having pesticides, this is the ugly shape of technology and advancement. So yeah, this is, you can count in the cons of technology and advancements. Anyhow,
Yes.
let's move on to the next thing. I